over 300,000 children under the ages of 18 were sucked into the deepest recesses of hell. And it's disgusting that the media hasn't covered it. Like
More than $450 million.
Her art alone.
And like those talk show hosts.
Her devil-worshipping art alone.
It's just...
Broke up with her because her goal was to have a lot of money, and mine was to find love, and hers was I want 60 billion. Good luck. Our forks are never going to meet. The further we stay on with this, the further we will be.
Something is happening in Hollywood that nobody wants to talk about directly, but two people are saying it anyway, and they're willing to lose everything to do music it. Jim Caviezel, the man who played Jesus Christ on screen, is connecting dots that powerful people desperately want to keep scattered. Rob Schneider is saying things about Ellen DeGeneres that most celebrities are too afraid to even whisper. And what they're both pointing to is the same terrifying pattern. Ellen DeGeneres doesn't just hurt people, she erases them. Not metaphorically, literally. But before we get to the people who disappeared, we need to understand the system that made music, disappearing them, possible. Ellen DeGeneres built an empire on a single idea: be kind. For almost 20 years, that phrase defined her entire brand, the queen of daytime television, America's sweetheart, beloved, safe. But something happened about 2 years ago that changed how people look at every single one of those old clips. They started vanishing. Not gradually, not naturally, like someone pulled a switch. Clips that sat online for years, watched by millions, shared across platforms, part of the cultural record, suddenly got blocked in certain countries, hit with copyright claims that appeared years after they were uploaded, removed entirely. The pattern doesn't match how copyright actually music works. Copyright strikes come fast, right after something goes live, weeks, maybe days, not years later, out of nowhere. So the obvious question became, why now? Jim Caviezel, the actor from Sound of Freedom, noticed the pattern too, and he had an explanation that made people very uncomfortable. During the 5 screenings, each screening there was a talking going on. And I was like watching the audience going, what? The second time it happened again, third time talking in this one particular spot. And I'm thinking, music, what, did we do something wrong or something? But so then one more time it happened. At the end I was asked about the movie, and I asked him about that one particular part where everybody's talking. And they all screamed out, Epstein Island. And I went, oh okay, now I understand what we're up against. See where this is going. Caviezel wasn't just making a movie. He was naming something that powerful people wanted unnamed. And when he did, the industry responded the way it always does, by calling him a conspiracy theorist and trying to bury the conversation. But here's what people are starting to understand. When you have footage that makes people uncomfortable, really, deeply uncomfortable, and that footage is connected to powerful people, that footage doesn't stay online for long. There's a synthetic form and there's a regular natural form, which is caused by torturing little kids to get their adrenaline up essentially, and then extracting it from them. When you sit and so I brought this up a few years ago, and all of a sudden I was attacked by every media. Look it up, it's there. They absolutely went after me, and the next day I never heard from my agents, my agency. This is the moment everything shifted. Caviezel wasn't just a Hollywood actor anymore. He was someone naming names, connecting music patterns, and refusing to shut up about it. And that made him dangerous to the system. Here's one Ellen clip that people keep bringing up. It's the one that changed how people watch everything else she ever did on that show. Sandra Bullock was on the show talking about skincare, normal celebrity interview stuff, light music, breezy. Then she started describing a facial treatment, and she got hesitant about naming it directly. Ellen, being Ellen, decided to name it for her, live on television, in front of the whole studio audience. Okay, explain what it is. A day which one forces us through micro-needling. It's like a little roller with these, some of you, I think many of you know it. And you pushes through the skin and ruptures the collagen and then boosts it. You look like a burn victim for a day, but music, then it's it, but then it pushes the skin. What are you pushing into the skin, Sandra Carey? What are you pushing into the skin? Well, you push in whatever the facialist would like to insert into your pores, but what is it? It is an extraction from a piece of skin that came from a young person, music far, far away, and they somehow figured out how to extract its foreskin from a Korean baby. Stop and think about that moment for a second. Strip away the laugh track. Strip away the shock value energy that daytime TV runs on. A guest describes a treatment. She hesitates to name it. The host names it for her, and then everyone collectively agrees to treat it like nothing happened. But here's what we know now that we didn't know then. Court documents from the Epstein files, survivor testimony, leaked footage from other cases. They all show one consistent pattern. Wealthy, powerful people became obsessed with youth, with things taken from young bodies, with procedures and substances that could only come from harming children. This was not conspiracy theory. This was courtroom evidence. Absolutely. This has been around in modern science since the 1930s. Actually there's a synthetic form and there's a regular natural form which is caused by torturing little kids to get their adrenaline up essentially and then extracting it from them. So when people watch that Sandra Bullock clip now, they don't see a funny celebrity moment anymore. They see something else entirely, and Ellen knew, she had to know. The specificity in how she named it, the certainty, the way she said it out loud where 1,000 people could hear it, that wasn't shock, that was confirmation. That clip music is one of the ones being scrubbed right now. Ask yourself why. But the disappearing clips are just one layer of this story. The deeper layer is what people who actually worked with Ellen have been saying for years. The show's public image and the show's reality were two completely different things. Selena Gomez found out about hidden cameras in a private dressing room bathroom. Not alarm cameras, security cameras in a bathroom where people undressed. And I don't know why. So you're in my dressing room. You have the bathroom with the camera, so I put towels all over the camera, and I went and peed in Kobe Bryant's dressing room, 'cause I was scared. Well, you're right, I was trying to scare you guys. That wasn't a prank. Pranks have consent. Pranks have a point where everyone laughs together afterward. This was surveillance dressed up as entertainment, and Selena's face showed she understood exactly what it was. She looked genuinely violated. The laugh track covered it up, but it was there. Justin Bieber talked about Ellen pulling his pants down on camera more than once. He described being young in this industry, without knowing where to turn, and how hard it was when everyone said they loved you, and then turned their back in a second. 'Cause you always do that thing where you show all my pants down, and it's really annoying. I just wanted to be a good example, and it was hard for me being that young and being in the industry, and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, telling me they love me and just turn their back on you in a second. These are not isolated incidents. These are patterns. Patterns that suggest Ellen was using her power, her position, and her camera to access and control young people in ways that went far beyond what any talk show should ever do. And the staff knew. They all knew. Former employees came forward and described a workplace built on fear. Not the normal kind of fear that comes from a demanding boss, the kind of fear that comes from a predator. You had to walk on eggshells. You never made eye contact with Ellen in the hallways. You never drew attention to yourself because the cost of breaking those rules was too high. You had to walk on eggshells with her because when we would be pitching, her snipe remarks music would be, "What am I going to talk to them about? I don't know, I have nothing to say, I don't know." So we would write the whole outline for her, and then the guests would walk off feeling like crap. Wasn't just the staff who felt it. Even Joe Rogan called Ellen out publicly, said she was mean in a way that contradicted everything her public image claimed to be. But there's one moment that stands above all of this. One exchange that shows exactly what Ellen was willing to do with her power, and what happened to the person who resisted. Mariah Carey went on Ellen's show in 2008 while she was pregnant. She hadn't announced it publicly yet. She wanted to control when and how the world found out about her own pregnancy. Ellen had other ideas. During the interview, Ellen started asking about the pregnancy rumors. Mariah tried to deflect. She didn't want to discuss it, but Ellen pushed harder. And then Ellen did something extraordinary. She offered Mariah a drink. The other thing is that people are saying that you're pregnant. There's rumors, I don't discuss that. Laughter, think about what just happened. Ellen used her platform, her